What is up, guys? My name is Lex. Welcome back to the vlog. We're still here in Texas playing at the Lodge. This place is packed on a Saturday night. Literally 60 tables going on. Starting off at some 2-5 tonight. Stay tuned for the end of this video. I'm going to go over my 2021 poker year results. All right, let's get down to the table. Let's get to the action. Let's go. First hand we go over here. We're in the big blind with 5-7 offsuit. It's a straddle pot. I decide to call $5 more, which is a pretty loose play. However, we get rewarded when we see the board of 3, 4, 6 rainbow making the nuts. I decide to check and the action checks all the way around. The turn is a 10. I check again, praying someone's going to bet, but they check. The river's a king. I decide to lead out for $30 and they fold. We all decided to keep the straddle on, so the game is 2, 5, 10. I look down at pocket jacks next to act. I raise to $35. I get one caller, so we're heads up, out of position to a flop of deuce, deuce, jack. Flopping the nuts for the second time for the second hand of this session. I check. My opponent checks back. Turn 3 of clubs, now bringing 3 clubs on the board. Obviously, it would be great if my opponent had a flush. I decide to bet super tiny here, trying to keep him in there with his entire range, and maybe it will induce him to bluff, but he decides to put in 4 red chips, so we're going to the river, which is a brick, and now I lead out for 1 black chip. I think a lot of the time my opponent is going to have some middling pocket pairs like 6s through pocket 10s, so I'm hoping this bet will get called, and it does. He flicks in the chip. We end up taking down our second pot of the night. Poker is just easy when you flop the nuts and get paid off. Moving on, a tight player under the gun opens to 35. I have ace-5 of spades in the cutoff. I think it's close between folding and calling here. Given the fact that it is a tight player, I think a fold is better, but we're filming. We're trying to get some hands in, so I make the call. We see a board of king, 5, 4, 2 clubs. We flop middle pair and 1 overcard. My opponent now leads out for $35. I have a pair, 1 overcard, backdoor flush draw, and some bluffing opportunities, so I make the call. Turn 3 of diamonds, and I'm expecting under the gun to check here a lot of the time. I think he's going to have a lot of under pairs of the king that are just trying to get to showdown, given the fact that he raised under the gun. However, he decides to bet again $100, and when he bets here on the flop, in the turn, he's basically representing hands like aces, ace-king, king-queen, and maybe pocket kings. So given the fact that I do have some extra equity, I don't believe him just yet. I make the call. The river is the queen. Now under the gun decides to check. Now I have to decide if I want to check back this river or turn my 5 into a bluff. In real time, I actually thought he had ace-queen, which is definitely a hand that he would raise pre-flop, bet on the flop, maybe bet again on the turn, picking up some equity, then hitting second pair on the river, he would most likely check, trying to get to showdown. We can assume he doesn't have too strong of a hand. I think he would bet aces, ace-king, king-queen, pocket kings, pocket queens, so I decide to turn my 5 into a bluff. In my mind, I was trying to target hands like ace-queen, pocket jacks, or pocket 10s, trying to get them to fold, so I decide to bet $300 here, turning my 5 into a bluff, and unfortunately, we get snapped off. I tell him I have a 5, and he shows pocket aces, and that is good. Definitely going to beat our 5. Looking back, I think this entire hand is a huge pump by me. I should be folding pre-flop against his under-the-gun tight range, given the fact that he wasn't getting out of line at all. If I do make the call, I should call the flop and then fold the turn, definitely. If I do call the turn, I should not be bluffing on that particular river, but we end up punting off about $400 here. Not happy with this hand, but we got to move on. We got to keep playing. Let's try to get it back. Next, there's a limp for $10. I have Jack 9 of hearts in the cutoff. Definitely a hand I want to be raising up here. Let's play a big pot. In position, I make it $50, and the limper calls. Heads up, in position to queen 4, 4, 2 clubs. We completely miss this board. He checks, and I decide to check this one back. The turn is the ace of clubs. Pretty good card for me. When he checks again, I decide to start a bluff here, looking to bet the turn, and then barreling on most river cards. I throw out 2 green chips, $50, and we basically get snap called. The river is the king of clubs. So now 4 clubs on the board, and my opponent snap leads for $125, and we snap fold. If you've ever played in Texas, you know they love their bomb pots. Every single orbit, they play double board PLO bomb pots, which means everybody puts in a certain amount of money, gets 4 cards, and 2 full boards come out. I've told you guys before that I don't play bomb pots. I decided to stop playing these for a couple of reasons. One reason why I sit out of these is that I don't really know how to play these at all, and I'm usually sitting anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 deep at these tables, and a lot of the time, people have the same amount of chips as me, so if I make a huge mistake in a double board PLO bomb pot, I could lose upwards of $5,000. My poker earnings make up about 70% of my yearly income, so I have to be smart with the games I play. I don't think it's good for me to play a game I have no idea how to play for money amounts that would affect my bankroll if I lost them, so I decided to sit out on these. It's also kind of annoying when they take anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes long, and a lot of the time they just get chopped up anyway. Obviously, these lodge dealers are amazing. They work quick, fast, and efficient, but either way, 10 minutes of not seeing a single hand is pretty tilting sometimes. I'm sure a lot of Texan poker players are not going to agree with me on this, but pause the video, go down into the comments, and tell me what you guys think about PLO double board bomb pots. After an hour at my first table, it was not the kind of game I wanted to be playing. A lot of tight players and not too many people getting out of line, so I decided to switch it up and move over to another 2-5 table where there hopefully will be some more action. Moving on to our first hand at our new table, we straddle under the gun for $10, cut off races to 35. I have ace deuce of spades, seems like a pretty easy defend here. I make the call, we're heads up to the flop of 8 deuce deuce, flopping trips with an ace kicker. That is what I'm talking about. I check it over to him, and he decides to bet small, $25. With such a strong hand on such a dry board, I think a call here is the best option, so I put in the call. The turn is the 10. I check it over to him, and unfortunately, he checks this one back. The river is another 10. We make a full house, but unfortunately, we are now counterfeited. If my opponent has a 10, he is now beating us. Even though this card is bad on the river, I'm not really scared of it. I would assume my opponent would be betting a 10 almost 100% of the time on the turn, so I decide to lead out on the river for a polarized bet sizing of $150, trying to get called by ace high hands, maybe pocket 9s, maybe a sticky 8 or pocket 7s. He goes into the tank for a while. Looking back, I think I could be betting a little bit smaller, maybe $75 or $100, but it doesn't matter. He ends up making the fold, and we take down the pot. Another game that's quite popular here at the lodge is called the stand-up game. Basically, the point is to liven up the table and try to increase some action. Basically, everybody stands up at the same time, and you cannot sit down in your chair until you win a hand. If you are the last person standing, you owe everybody at the table a certain amount of money. We all stand up looking like weirdos at table number 3. The first hand we get dealt in, we look down at ace 5 of diamonds.
I should also take a shot too. You have a shot? Where's the fuck? I can't smuggle alcohol in the U.S.
Not with that attitude.
Bro, you're not going to get any action.
That doesn't count. I have a great hand.
That's how you do it. I want to hand. Win the first round. Now you're free rolling.
Now I sit down.
That shouldn't count.
Yeah, that counts.
My strategy was to open big and hopefully just take down the blinds, which ends up happening. We get to sit down our very first hand, which is great because I just trained legs about 3 hours before this. This next hand has a weird dynamic when under the gun +1 races to 35, under the gun +2, 3 bets to 125. I'm on the button with pocket 10s. Both of these players are the last 3 players still standing, so maybe they're just trying to get out of line, trying to take down the blinds. I'm not going to fold pocket 10s. I make the call. 3 ways to the flop, 2 players standing, 1 player sitting. Ace, queen, jack. Terrible board for us. The action checks to me. I am not going to be betting on this board. I check it back. The turn is an 8, and now the initial 3-better puts out a bet, and we fold. Next hand, under the gun straddles to 15. Under the gun +1 calls 15. We peel back pocket aces, the best hand you can get pre-flop. We raise it up to $60 here. The small blind, who's a pretty tight player, cold calls $60. Under the gun straddler folds and limper folds. Heads up in position to the flop of jack 8-4 2 diamonds. When the small blind calls my big raise out of position pre-flop, I think he's going to have a lot of pocket pairs, possibly hands like ace king or ace queen, but we do block that hand. I'm not too happy with seeing an 8 and a jack on the flop because he could have connected with a set here. However, I'm not going to be checking. I bet $105. He goes into the tank for a while. If we face a raise here, it's going to be a nasty spot. We're both sitting about $3,000 deep. However, he lets this one go. We take it down. The next hour, I go super card dead, losing about $200 worth of my profit, calling some raises, raising myself, whiffing boards, and not taking down any pots until there's an under the gun raise to $35, folds back to us in the big blind, and we look down at pocket aces again. I decide to go with a big 3-bet sizing given the fact that I'm out of position, very deep with my opponent. I make it $150. He ends up making the call. Two players seeing a board of Jack, Jack, Deuce, two clubs. Pretty good board for me. I do think the initial raiser is going to have a lot more jacks in his range than I will. He will have all the hands like Jack 9 suited all the way up to Ace Jack suited. I see bet small here, $100, trying to keep him in there with his backdoor equity, his ace high, and all of his pocket pairs. He makes the call. The turn is a deuce, now double pairing the board. Kind of an interesting spot. I don't think I can continue to get 3 streets of value from this player if I bet the turn or the river, so this time I decide to check the turn, looking to potentially induce him to bluff or maybe get a thin value bet on the river if he checks back. River 6 of diamonds only improves my opponent if he has pocket sixes. Now, what kind of bet sizing should I use here? At first, I thought I should go 1.5 or 2x pot, really trying to polarize my range. However, if I bet that big against this particular player, I feel like he's going to fold out all worse hands and only call me when he's beating me. So I decided to go with a funky bet, a 1/5 size pot bet of $100. My reasoning behind this is that with this sizing, he's basically going to call with 100% of his range that gets here on the river, and a small bet could potentially induce him to bluff.
I'm upstairs in the VIP area. Ace.
Under the gun makes the call. We take down a decent sized pot here with pocket aces, which ends up being our last hand of the night. Stay tuned. Next up, I'm going to go over my poker earnings for the year of 2021. We end up racking up our chips, heading to the cage, and cashing out. Alright guys, let's go over my year results playing poker. We're going to use the dates January 26, 2021 to January 26, 2022. So exactly 1 year playing poker, I earned $86,158, by far my best year yet playing poker. Almost $100,000 worth of profit just playing cash games, 2-5, 5-10. It's pretty amazing. 1,700 hours played, a ton of hours, $50 average hourly throughout the year. I'm happy with that. I obviously would like to make more, but I'm happy with $86,000, my 3rd year playing poker for a living. $50 an hour is great. Not many people in the country are making that kind of money consistently over 1,700 hours. I want to get my hourly up a little bit higher. I want to start playing at better times, better games, less hours, but hopefully making more money during that time. I don't have tips recorded. I know you guys are going to talk about the fact that it says 0 tips. I don't record my tips because it's way too hard to record the tips. Every single time I throw $1 or $2 or $5, I just cannot record or remember all that. It would just take way too much effort when I'm already filming, vlogging, writing down my hands, everything like that. So $86,000 worth of profit. How did we get there? Let's go to the month-to-month results. $13,000 the first month of the year. Great month, 142 hours played. February, $3,000. March, my best year yet, best month yet. I've never made that kind of money before. $22,000 made playing poker in the month of March. That kind of propelled my bankroll to play more 5, 10, and 10, 25, and it propelled my YouTube channel because I was making videos of winning like $6,000 and $5,000. I made a video of how I won $20,000 in a month, which really just exploded my YouTube channel. So the month of March really was like the best month of the year. $161 an hour that month, which is pretty insane. So moving on to April, obviously it's going to go down a little bit. After winning so much money, it's kind of reversion to the mean. You're going to have somewhat of a slow month. So $3,000 in April. May, $11,000, great month. June, $8,000. July, I was almost losing the month of July. I remember I was down like $5,000 with 3 days left, and then I came back to win $1,000 that month. So pretty great, 140 hours played. But unfortunately, August was the very first month that I have lost as a professional poker player. I have never lost a single month playing poker when I'm playing for a living, except for August 2021. Lost $7,000 that month. I don't even remember like how I lost so much money. I think maybe a Texas game I lost in. I think I lost a bunch of the Hard Rock that month playing bad, but we got it all back the next month in September. That was when I went out to Vegas. $16,000 in September, $8,000 in October, $4,000 in November, and then December lost $65. So let's move over now to the location. This is kind of interesting, talking about location. Hard Rock was my best location by far, earned $54,000 in a year at Hard Rock, played 718 hours at the Hard Rock. Bellagio, number 2, $27,000 earned there over 190 hours. My average hourly at the Bellagio, $144 an hour, which is amazing. Obviously probably not gonna be able to keep that up long term, but $144 an hour to sit at a poker table, I will take it. $76 an hour over 718 hours at the Hard Rock, I'm pretty happy with that, you know? $76 an hour is pretty good. Magic City, $18,000 earned there. That is the casino that I got banned from. That was my home casino. That's where I built my bankroll playing 1-2. They banned me for ridiculous reasons that you guys probably remember. So I haven't played there in 6 or 7 months, but ended up earning $18,000 there. We can go down some small losses, some small wins, all the way to the bottom. Texas Card House in Dallas. I ran really bad there, if you guys remember those videos. Did not have the best time there. Lost $1,300, which in reality is like nothing. Ended up playing 272 hours this year at Texas Card House in Dallas. Great room, good action, ran like shit. So Big Easy lost some money, Commerce lost some money, Rounders, San Antonio lost $2,500, ran super bad there. Texas Card House in Austin lost $4,000, only 20 hours. And then Aria, my worst location yet. Aria losing $5,800. I don't think I've ever won a session in Aria. I just run really bad there. So going over here to the session chart, which is kind of cool. You can kind of see how the year goes. I had a great upswing in the beginning, kind of broke even for a while, another big upswing, and then this time period was throughout the summer. I remember this time period where I was just going up and down and up and down and up and down for like 3 months straight. I couldn't win in that month. Like it was like July, August, you know, that time's when I lost. But I went on a massive upswing, you guys can see here. Huge upswing. This was when I went to Vegas and a little bit of Texas. It was pretty amazing. Lost a little bit here when I came to Texas Card House in Dallas, some bad downswings there, but then came back out of it when I went to Vegas. So $86,000 earned playing poker, and then now go over to the YouTube. This year, earnings for YouTube, $34,000. I started getting paid on YouTube in March of 2021. So from March until January, earned $34,000, which is amazing. I had no idea that I could make that kind of money just playing and making videos and editing videos and talking about my poker hands. And that's all thanks to you guys. That's thanks to you guys watching my videos, watching the ads, putting up with that kind of crap to watch my poker videos. Thank you again. So if we do some math here, 34,000 plus 86,000, $120,000 earned in the year of 2021. $120,000 earned playing poker, making poker videos. Seems like a dream. I can't believe I can say that I made over 100 grand by myself. I'm my own boss. I do whatever I want. I play what I want. I make whatever videos I want. Pretty great. I'm definitely grateful. But 2022 is going to be even better. We're going for, hopefully, a $200,000 a year. Maybe we can do it. $200,000 a year in 2022. You think we can do it? Let's do it. Let's play bigger games. Let's run better. Let's play better. Hopefully not lose as much money. And then YouTube hopefully keeps growing. We can make more revenue there. I'm saying it right now. 2022, we're going for $200,000. But that is it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video going over my 2021 year results. But another video coming out from the lodge, then we're heading over to Texas Card House in Dallas after that. That is it for this one. Until next time, I'll see ya.